Is it possible to make a movie about Kool-Aid?
We're fast-tracking the Kool-Aid movie, and we're really interested in meeting with some of your clients.
Yes. That's one of the questions in Seth Rogen's new show, The Studio, which is a Hollywood satire that follows a new studio head that needs a giant IP-driven film to save his studio. But lucky for them, they have the rights to the legacy brand Kool-Aid.
You want Wes Anderson to direct the fucking Kool-Aid movie?
So throughout the whole season, we follow these characters around as they're trying to make a Kool-Aid movie. And the whole thing is just a satire of the sad state of the film industry and Hollywood at the moment, where soulless IP-driven movies are churned out while original movies are left to die. Now, I'm a director, which means I make a lot of pitch documents. And throughout this whole show, I'm wondering what I would do if I was in this situation. Because I don't have any big industry credits. I haven't worked in the Hollywood system. I just have a few short films, some feature scripts, and a dream. So I'm still very much on the outside of Hollywood looking in.
This is an actual opportunity for a director to get a huge budget and make like a real film, you know?
And if this is really where the industry is, if what we see in the studio does reflect the current state of Hollywood, would I be able to survive it?
He's not gonna stoop to the fucking Kool-Aid
Why
movie.
not? It's like the Barbie movie.
Can I make a living as a director in this current landscape while still maintaining some creative integrity? This question was plaguing my mind, so I stopped working on my pitch deck for my very real horror script that I just finished and actually want to make. And I stopped working on my new short film, Locked In, which shoots in under 2 months from now. And I built out an entire pitch deck and a full outline for my version of a Kool-Aid movie, to see if I could make a Kool-Aid movie that I would actually be proud of, that I would actually put my name on. So I am going to present this entire pitch to you, the audience, as if you're an entire room of studio heads that are going to decide if they're going to hire me for this project. So you can decide for yourselves, do I actually have a good direction for a Kool-Aid movie? Do I have a Kool-Aid movie that could make $2 billion at the box office and save Continental Studios from being sold to Amazon?
Anybody trying to fuck the Kool-Aid man, dude?
So I'm about to pitch this movie to you, but first, I haven't had Kool-Aid since I was a kid, so this is probably my first Kool-Aid in at least 20 years. Interesting. Hi. Thank you everyone here at Continental Studios for being willing to hear this pitch. This is an amazing opportunity that I don't take lightly, and I'm really excited to present to you my vision for the Kool-Aid movie. I feel like I have a really good, unique take on this property, and I can't wait to share it with you. So let's go. So the logline for this movie is, when a lonely kid wishes for a friend, he summons the Kool-Aid Man. But after they smash through half the walls in the city, he must keep the Kool-Aid Man a secret from his dad and the secret agents that are trying to hunt him down. So, to understand why we're making a Kool-Aid movie, you have to understand the history of the drink itself, the historical context that it exists in, why Kool-Aid has stood the test of time. So Kool-Aid has survived because it is the drink of the everyman. The idea of a powder drink was first invented because the business owner couldn't keep up with the cost of glass bottles. Because the beverage no longer needed a bottle or even liquid, it could be sold at a much lower price. And the drink grew in popularity because it was so cheap anyone could afford it. When the Great Depression came around, they actually lowered the cost of Kool-Aid. So even during the worst economic conditions, people could still afford Kool-Aid. No matter what social class you come from, no matter what your economic status is, if you need a sweet pick-me-up, you can mix up some Kool-Aid. So to go along with that, the Kool-Aid Man is a character that exudes fun. He's a radical dude. He brings a party wherever he goes. So this story is about a character who doesn't have much, but learns to find joy in the circumstances that he's in. This is a film about a working class family that are struggling in this economy like so many of us are, because that is Kool-Aid's legacy. That is the story of Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid is something that could provide a little bit of fun no matter what your circumstances are. So let's get into some of the characters in this movie. Now, I should preface this with one of the main plot points of the show, The Studio, was, is it racist to make the Kool-Aid Man black? And even kind of by proxy, like, is it almost racist to not make the Kool-Aid Man black, you know?
Question. A question that I think only you can answer.
Okay.
Okay, so there's been some discussion around the office that perhaps...
Why are you whispering?
No reason.
Basically what I did is I tried to just think of who I thought would be the best Kool-Aid Man, regardless of anything else, and I built a cast around that. And people of a much higher pay grade and more knowledge of cultural context than me can decide what's okay and what's not. But I have picked who I think would make the best Kool-Aid Man, and that is Sam Richardson. Now, our Kool-Aid Man is a fun-loving, radical dude, brings the party wherever he goes. The Kool-Aid Man is summoned through magic from a child's wish for a friend. As soon as he arrives, his main mission is to put a smile on this child's face to make him feel included and important in the community around him. And Sam Richardson, I think, is just hands down the best choice to voice the Kool-Aid Man. He is so funny, and he has just a kind of sweet voice to him, a soothing voice, and he's someone that could be boisterous and exciting without wearing down on you or becoming annoying, and he could also like be sweet in the more tender moments of the film, and just a great improver too. All around, I think Sam Richardson just has to be the Kool-Aid Man, but of course there are other options if any of you disagree. Our next character is Cam. Now, Cam is a middle school student, the son of a single parent. He keeps to himself and has a hard time making friends. He, by the skin of his teeth, made the school basketball team, where he is by far the worst player. And his dad works a lot, so really all he does is he's alone at school, he comes home to an empty house, and he watches TV. And he sees all the other kids living great lives and having fun on the screen, and he desperately wishes he was one of them. Next, we have Mr. Morris. Mr. Morris is Cam's father, and he's been raising Cam alone since the death of his wife. And he works as a contractor and pulls double duty, taking on as many projects as possible just to be able to afford a simple life for him and his son. And this character is going to be voiced by the same actor that is voicing the Kool-Aid Man. And as we get into the film, you'll start to notice why, but thematically this will show that this dad who has to work a lot does have this fun, sweet side to him, but due to his busy life, he doesn't get to show it as much. And throughout the course of the film, we'll be able to see that side of him more and more. Next character is Top Secret. He is our main antagonist. He is a secret agent so high up in the government, his own name is Top Secret. Everything that he does is classified. He's a workaholic, no nonsense. He will do anything to achieve his directive. When reports of a giant sentient pitcher terrorizing this small town reach the government, it is up to him to hunt down the Kool-Aid Man and figure out what makes this pitcher so strong. If there's any magic, anything supernatural in the Kool-Aid Man, he needs to figure it out and see if they could harness it to develop future secret agent technology. Next, we have Ice Cream Creed. He is the owner of Creed's Ice Cream Parlor. He's a man that longs for old-fashioned times where life was simpler. So he created an ice cream parlor that feels like stepping back into the 1950s. And he's very proud of this idealized slice of the past that he's created. And he will correct anyone who calls it a shop. It is not an ice cream shop, it is a parlor. He's very insistent on that. His biggest fear is the new things he doesn't understand. So of course, when a giant pitcher of Kool-Aid smashes through his ice cream shop, he is furious. He instantly doesn't like him, but eventually this man's cold ice cream heart might warm up to him. And I would love for this guy to be voiced by Connor O'Malley. I love his comedy so much, and I think it fits the character perfectly. Next, we have Coach Kratz. He is the middle school basketball coach, and he takes his job very seriously. He has led the middle schoolers to championships every single year, and he's not about to stop now, even with a player as poor as Cam. And when the Kool-Aid Man busts through the wall of his beloved basketball court, his first thought is he needs to hunt this guy down. But after he sees the pitcher's height, mass, speed, insane vertical, all of that, he wants to draft him as part of the team. Because, there is not a law that says that a pitcher of Kool-Aid can't play basketball. Now, there are a few other townspeople that will kind of meet here and there, and they'll all come back toward the end of the film. That's including the owner of a skate shop, a glass blower, the owner of a clothing store, and a photojournalist. So now let's get into what the story of the Kool-Aid movie is. So we open on a group of kids that are playing basketball outdoors in a park, and they're jumping around, they're sweaty, they're tired, they take a break. A kid goes to take a sip of water, and there's only one drop. It falls into his mouth, and it is not nearly enough to quench his thirst on this hot day. All the other kids are out of water too, and we get shots of all of them sweating. We get tight shots of the sun where we see the flames dancing on the edge of this giant fireball. It is a scorching hot day. One of the kids turns to the other and says, "I wish I had something to drink." And all of a sudden, there's a rumbling. People look around, and bam! Something smashes through this brick wall, and on the other side appears the Kool-Aid Man. He goes, "Oh yeah!" And he starts throwing glasses of Kool-Aid to all the kids, and all the kids are having a party. He pulls out a boombox, and it's a grand old time. And then we slowly start to push back. The image gets fuzzy. We see those kind of RGB aberrations everywhere, and it turns out we're watching a TV commercial. In the reverse shot, we see Cam. He's looking longingly at the kids in the commercial, wishing he was there with the Kool-Aid Man, but instead he's at home by himself. But he's starting to feel a little thirsty after that commercial, so he goes into the fridge to make himself some Kool-Aid. And he's making it cheapest way possible, these little packets right here. This packet cost me 35 cents, and it makes 2 quarts of liquid. So again, Kool-Aid, very affordable drink. So he makes himself a pitcher of Kool-Aid, and this packet right here, it kind of falls off the counter, and it lands in an outside pocket of his backpack. So that will come back later. But he sits back on the couch, watches more TV. We match cut. He's fallen asleep hours later, and his dad comes home. They talk for a little bit. The dad's like, "Man, I had to work this really long job. It was really frustrating. I'm sorry I'm late coming home again." And Cam mentions that he has a basketball game on Friday. And the dad is like, "Dude, I really want to go. I really want to make this work, buddy. They're trying to make me work, but I'm definitely trying to get out of it. So I think I'll be able to come." And Cam is just like, okay. He's a little disappointed because he's learned through experience that a maybe really means a no. So his dad probably isn't going to be at this basketball game. So he goes to school the next day. He doesn't sit next to anyone at lunch. He doesn't talk to anyone in class. After school at basketball practice, he is struggling because he's the worst player on the team. He's not really melding with the rest of the team. They don't pass to him. He can't guard anyone well. And while he's running around, this Kool-Aid pouch that was in his backpack somehow gets out of his backpack, and it ends up in the middle of the court. And Coach Kratz stops everything when he sees the trash, and he points to Cam. It's like, hey, everyone gather around here. I need to say something. Because this right here, this isn't a basketball court. This is a shrine. This is the testament to the greatness of Hastings Middle School. We've won the championship every year. We are not about to stop now. And it starts with respecting the court, with respecting our home turf. Although it's better than turf, it's shiny hardwood floor. In this basketball court, you must defend the honor of this place. This gym, if it's not anything short of spotless, you will bring shame upon this temple. And after this insane speech all over this trash, Cam is so embarrassed. He takes the pouch, just shoves it in his gym shorts and tries to walk away. His face as red as the Kool-Aid itself. And this is walking away. Other students are pointing and laughing. One kid is like, respect the shrine, my guy. And everyone laughs. And Cam comes back home. His dad still isn't there. He walks up. There's a note on the fridge saying, I'm going to be late, but good luck tomorrow. I'll see you out there. So the next morning, a van comes to pick Cam up and take him to school. And there's another mom that's driving. And in the backseat, lo and behold, it's the kid that was making fun of him yesterday at practice. That's who he has to ride to school with every day. So that's kind of sad. So we're at the inciting incident of this film, which is the big basketball game that Cam is playing in. Cam walks out, the stands are full, they're going crazy. He's looking around for his dad and he doesn't see him. So he's disappointed and he's doing poorly this entire game. No one's passing to him. He can't keep up with anyone. He's letting all the people he's defending just kind of run circles around him. He never gets the ball, except for this one point right at halftime where it just kind of lands into his hand. He lines up to shoot like this might be a hero moment for him, but right as he shoots, the ball is just knocked out of his hand. Someone else runs into him and he falls hard on the ground. The ref doesn't even call a foul. Halftime is called and he is hurting. He picks himself up. All of the other kids around are drinking their water or drinking their sports drinks. He notices when he fell down, this pouch was still in his gym shorts, and it's there in the middle of the court, and he's really trying not to get yelled at again, so he picks it up, but he doesn't put it away. He just kind of looks at it. He's looking at all the other kids drinking their drinks. Well, there's none for him. He's looking at the smile of the Kool-Aid man. He's remembering that TV commercial. And he wishes he has this guy with him. He looks at the pouch and says, I wish you were real. And then kind of like in the TV commercial, we hear a distant rumble. Everyone in the stands pauses. There's a hush that starts to fall over. And then, bam! Brick flies everywhere. There's a massive hole in the gym. This beautiful gym just is covered in rubble. The Kool-Aid man, the real Kool-Aid man, busts through the wall going, oh yeah! And everybody screams. Everybody is screaming in terror. They're running away, trying to go through the exits. They are terrified of whatever this is, except for Cam, who is just standing there with his mouth open like, oh my God, I summoned the Kool-Aid man. Kool-Aid man goes up to Cam, is like, yo, you seem pretty cool, man. Wanna go have some fun? And Cam's just like, yeah, I want to have some fun. Oh yeah. And the Kool-Aid man, he scoops up Cam and just darts out of the hole in the wall. Now, the Kool-Aid man, he is super fast. He has to like get all that speed to be able to punch through walls. And so he's running all around the downtown of this town. I should have said that this is Hastings, Nebraska, where we are. This is the town that Kool-Aid was invented, so I figured it would be cool to set the film here. I also just like the kind of like small-ish town nature of this. It feels like an average American type of town, so I like that about it. They're running through the city. Cam is having the best day of his entire life. They're smashing through the walls of all of these businesses. They smash through a skate shop and they get a skateboard. They smash through a glass blowing shop and glass stuff just falls everywhere. And the glass blower is just like, oh. At one point, Cam is like, he asked the question that everybody has about the Kool-Aid man. Are you the pitcher or are you the liquid? And he's like, well, you know, I'm the pitcher, but I still need the liquid, you know? Like, it's kind of like my clothes. I feel naked without it. It's like, the liquid is your clothes? Like, yeah, the liquid is my clothes. Well, not really my clothes. Not like the clothes that you have on. It's like, so you don't have clothes on right now. You're naked right now. They just kind of look around. There's an awkward pause. We cut to him smashing through a clothing store and they try on a bunch of clothes like rom-com makeover style. Cam gets some cool sunglasses. The Kool-Aid man gets a pair of blue shorts and a yellow Hawaiian shirt that he really likes. They don't have any money, but he manages to conjure up like a metric ton of Kool-Aid jammers. That's kind of the equivalent to how much that would cost in money. So, you know, that's something he could do. He could conjure up Kool-Aid. Now, this turning point is when Cam comes home, he is ecstatic about how great of a day he had. But when he arrives at home, his dad walks through the front door and Mr. Morris is exhausted. He asked Cam if he was okay after whatever happened at the gym. He heard there was some sort of accident. Cam is like, yeah, I had the best day ever. Mr. Morris just collapses on the couch. He's like, I had the most stressful day ever because there are a crazy amount of reports of people's walls being smashed. And it's my job to fix people's walls. And Cam freezes. He doesn't say a word, but inside he is panicking because he knows that he is the reason that all those walls are busted. Mr. Morris tells Cam point blank, steer clear of whoever is smashing these walls. Meanwhile, in a government building, agents are in a frenzy over reports of this giant red pitcher smashing through multiple walls in this small town. People don't know what it is, they don't know how it works, anything about it, but it is causing all this property damage. And so one of the agents is like, this looks serious. Get Top on the phone. And that's when Top Secret comes in. You know, you get the gag of like, what's your name? It's like, Top Secret. And he's like, haha. It's like, no, you don't understand. I'm so high up in the government. I have breaths that are classified. My own name is Top Secret. Literally. So you better do what I say and not ask any questions. Because if I know one thing, is that if there's something crazy, spooky, mysterious happening out there, I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna bring it in. Because if there's something magical out there, just think of all the secret agent gadgets we can make with that. So the next morning, Cam is presented with the decision. Does he listen to his dad or does he summon the Kool-Aid man again? And as we could expect, he wants another fun day, so he summons the Kool-Aid man. So in our second act, the first thing they do on their second adventurous, wonderful day together is they smash into Creed's ice cream parlor. And Ice Cream Creed is furious that his wall has been smashed and he yells at them to leave. He's like, I don't know what that is, but if there's one thing I don't like, it's new things I don't understand. That's why I've made this whole ice cream shop 50s style, because I like old stuff. I like old stuff when it was simpler and times were better. I don't understand any of this new stuff because I'm scared of it. And you look new and I don't understand you, so I don't like you. get out of my parlor. And it's like, okay, we'll leave your shop. It's like, it is not a shop. It's a parlor. So they're wandering around downtown, kind of keeping a low profile because people are starting to notice that, like, hey, that's that freaky thing that smashed this dude's wall. And now he has to, like, pay thousands of dollars to repair it. But they see Mr. Morris repairing one of the holes. And Cam makes them hide. He's like, if my dad knew that I was hanging out with you, I'd be in big trouble. Kool-Aid Man's like, why? So you've been smashing all these walls. It's like, I'm sorry, I can't help it. It is in my DNA. I smash walls. It makes so much sense. The quickest way to a point is through a straight line, and the straight line is like, I mean, why go around when you could go through, you know? And I could do it, so why not do it? He's like, fine, but dude, if you smash any more walls, my dad is gonna have to fix all these walls. And he's never around because he's always fixing walls or houses or buildings or whatever. Kool-Aid Man is like, hey man, I know that's tough, but parents do have to work during the day. And why don't you have other friends your age to keep you company? It's like, I just don't get along with other kids. And the Kool-Aid Man is like, but I think you're great, man. I have so much fun with you. You are such a great kid. I bet these other kids, they just haven't seen you open up in an environment you're comfortable in. They haven't seen the real you. So we got to throw a sick party. So the Kool-Aid Man and Cam spend the rest of this act getting supplies together for a massive block party. They rent a DJ, they're getting an event coordinator, they're getting food trucks and vendors to come, they're putting flyers and invites all around the city. It's gonna be a big thing. And the whole time, Top Secret is sneaking around and he's watching them, getting ready to like move in. At the midpoint, we have the giant block party at the historic Fisher Fountain, which is a real location in Hastings, Nebraska. It's like a cool fountain that like has like a cool water show, and there are different lights and stuff. So it seems really cool. It's a beloved public landmark, and a big crowd shows up for this. The turnout is great. And throughout this whole party, the dad is working across the street repairing a Kool-Aid shaped hole, and we hear him telling a coworker, it's like, man, it looks like so much fun up there. I wish I could like take my son to stuff like that, but you know, it is so hard to just be able to afford making a living in this town, and I'm just trying my best, but I don't feel like it's good enough, like I'm really doing enough. But back at the party, Kool-Aid Man and Cam are having a blast. They have started a basketball game with Cam's basketball team, and the Kool-Aid Man is dunking on everyone. He's doing great. He is the life of the party, and by proxy, Cam is becoming more popular, and the whole town is starting to warm up to the Kool-Aid Man. They're like, hey, this guy isn't so bad. I mean, other than Ice Cream Creed, who still hates him. Everyone else is like starting to come around. But Top Secret and a bunch of other secret agents are all closing in on this party. This is about to be the time where they make their first big move to try to take down the Kool-Aid Man. So Cam spots the agents, and of course he had kind of spotted other clues when, you know, they were getting all the supplies for the party together. So Cam kind of knows what's going down, and he tries to drag the Kool-Aid Man to safety. So Top Secret and his agents are chasing the Kool-Aid Man and Cam through this party. This is the big midpoint set piece. They're trying not to make a scene. They're trying not to cause a panic among the crowd. And Coach Kratz, meanwhile, saw the Kool-Aid Man dunking on everyone in basketball, and he's trying to recruit the Kool-Aid Man to the basketball team, which is putting a wrench in everyone's plans because Cam is trying to get the Kool-Aid Man out, but also when Coach Kratz is right next to the Kool-Aid Man, none of the agents could get a clean shot. Hijinks are ensuing as they're darting through various like carnival style games and food trucks and different groups and everything. Some onlookers at one point see an agent pull a gun out, and we think that they're about to freak out and their cover is blown. But then it turns out they're like right next to one of those duck shooting games. And so it just kind of looks natural. But finally, the agents have the Kool-Aid Man and Cam cornered. They are right at the edge of the lake where the Fisher Fountain is. And the only way they could get out is by going through the fountain. The Kool-Aid Man gets a running start and then smashes through the fountain. And he just absolutely destroys it. And the entire town is furious that this beloved landmark is gone. And now everybody hates the Kool-Aid Man again, but at least the Kool-Aid Man and Cam have escaped to safety. So the Kool-Aid Man takes Cam back home, and he is still so amped up by having to run away from these agents that he gets overexcited and he busts through the wall of Cam's house. And this is a big deal. Cam goes silent and is like, oh no, my dad's going to kill me. Then he hears the front door open. Right at that moment, Mr. Morris walks in. He sees Cam. He sees the Kool-Aid Man. Then he sees the giant Kool-Aid Man shaped wall in his home, and he freaks out. He yells at the Kool-Aid Man to go away. The Kool-Aid Man just kind of runs away, and Cam is there with Mr. Morris. Mr. Morris feels so betrayed, asking how long he's hung out with the guy who's been smashing buildings in the town, these buildings that he's had to fix all day. And Cam says, you know what? I'm not sorry. Because I've had the best week of my life with the Kool-Aid Man. Because he's actually fun and he spends time with me. Unlike you, Dad, because you're never around. You're just always working and I'm so alone all the time. And finally, there's someone that's fun and that loves me and gets me. So no, I'm not gonna stop hanging out with the Kool-Aid Man. And this is really hurtful to Mr. Morris. And he tries to say, like, look, son, I'm trying my best. And I know I'm not always around, but I promise that everything I do in my life is for you. It's been so hard with your mother gone, and I'm just trying to make ends meet. And it feels like no matter how many steps forward I try to take, the world just pushes me even more steps back. And all I want to do is provide a good life for you. There's this really tense silence as he stares at the hole in his home that he's going to have to fix on top of everything else. And he looks at his son and he just kind of walks away and goes to bed. There's an awkward, tense silence, and then Cam goes away too. In this next act, when Cam wakes up, it's the weekend and the dad has already gone off to work. Cam hesitates before summoning the Kool-Aid Man again, but he does so. And he tells the Kool-Aid Man that they need to be more careful, that these agents, they're hunting him, they know where he is, and they've got to be safe. Like maybe instead of the Kool-Aid Man coming here to Cam's world, Cam could go to whatever magical place the Kool-Aid Man is staying when he's not with Cam. And that's when the Kool-Aid Man is like, buddy, I don't go to like some magical place when you aren't summoning me. Like, I exist in this world. You want to see where I've been hanging out? And Cam's like, okay. So the Kool-Aid Man takes him on his back, run. And they go into the walk-in freezer at Creed's ice cream parlor, where the Kool-Aid Man has kind of made a makeshift home. That's where he stays when Cam is not around. Cam's like, dude, I really thought you went to some like magical other place. I didn't know you were chilling in this freezer. But then immediately they hear a bunch of agents pouring into the ice cream parlor outside. They hear Creed arguing with the agent about it's not a shop, it's a parlor. And the door opens, 20 agents. All are surrounding the Kool-Aid Man and Cam. They're trying to run away. They manage to get out into the street and they see the ice cream truck. They know this is their only way they could get away. Creed is standing right in front of the ice cream truck and Cam is like, please, you gotta drive me and the Kool-Aid Man away. We gotta get away. These agents are trying to get us. And that's when Creed looks at the Kool-Aid Man, looks at Cam. He's like, you know what? If there's one thing I hate more, the new things I don't understand, it's the government. hop in, boys. And that's when Creed rips off in the ice cream truck with Cam and the Kool-Aid man in the back. All these agents are chasing him in the cars. It also turns out they've built a giant mech to defeat the Kool-Aid man. It's like one of those mechs in Alien, but it has hammers for hands. So the whole idea is it's gonna smash the glass surface of the Kool-Aid man. And so that's like sitting on top of this big truck that's behind them. There's a bunch of smaller cars, and they're weaving their way around the entire city. It's like the French Connection meets a Michael Bay movie. It's like really all the great car chase influences are in this. I think at one point there's gotta be a moment where the Kool-Aid man falls out of the truck, but he's got a rope, and then he's using like a street sign as a surfboard. So he's looking kind of radical as he's like surfing behind the ice cream truck. But at the end of the chase, the car slows down, they get cornered, and Top Secret comes out, and we reveal that the dad is right next to Top Secret. The dad saw the Kool-Aid man out, and he told Top Secret that the Kool-Aid man is hanging out with his son, and he has his son tracked on his phone through, you know, one of those apps parents track their kids with. And that's how Top Secret managed to corner the Kool-Aid man. And Cam feels so betrayed. The mech with the giant hammer manages to land a hit on the Kool-Aid man, causing a giant crack in the surface of the pitcher. Kool-Aid is starting to kind of drip out of it. Top Secret takes Kool-Aid man and shoves him into a plane. But it's not just any plane, it's Air Force One. They're taking the Kool-Aid man back to Washington to run tests at the Pentagon, which is not in Washington, it's in Virginia. But they're doing tests on the Kool-Aid man. They're taking him in Air Force One because the president himself wants to see this monstrosity. So as they're flying away, Cam is heartbroken. He's heartbroken that his dad did this. He's heartbroken that the Kool-Aid man is gone. He tries to summon the Kool-Aid man the way he always did, saying, I wish the Kool-Aid man was here. I wish the Kool-Aid man was here. But it doesn't work. It's not happening. Mr. Morris sees how disappointed his son is and starts to feel a little bad. He comforts Cam and is like, hey, even if this giant pitcher can't come back, I recognize he meant a lot to you. I just thought I was doing the right thing. I didn't want you to be in danger with these agents, but even if the pitcher can't come back, I'll always be there for you. So, but then out of the blue, Top Secret returns, and he's brought the Kool-Aid man with him. He shoves the Kool-Aid man on the ground in front of Cam and his dad, and is like, hey, you know what? We did a bunch of tests real quick on the plane on Air Force One, and we realized, wait a minute, the Kool-Aid man isn't actually the magical one. The magical one is you, Cam. You're the one that wished for the Kool-Aid man to come to life, and he did. You wished that this character from a commercial would be real, and he was real. It's not the Kool-Aid man. That's magic. It's you, Cam. So it's you that we need. And so Top Secret kidnaps Cam and shoves him in Air Force One, and they take off, leaving the dad alone with the Kool-Aid man. And again, he's like in even worse shape than before, cracks everywhere on the pitcher. Kool-Aid is draining out of him. The dad is like, I think I might have had the wrong idea about you, pitcher man, and do you think you could get my son back? Kool-Aid man sitting in a puddle of his own Kool-Aid, condensation forming a black eye around the face on the pitcher. He slowly lifts himself up. He says, oh yeah. And at that point, the entire city comes together to help. Coach Kratz, who has been watching the athletic prowess of the Kool-Aid man, noticing that he has an insane vertical jump, insane borderline superhuman speed, and an unbelievably sturdy glass exterior. He's like, wait a minute. I think the Kool-Aid Man has enough power to launch himself in the air to where he can land on this plane. And then the photojournalist kind of has her camera out and is keeping an eye on the plane. The skate shop owner brings a giant skate ramp, and the glassblower is like starting to repair the I don't like pause the video here, but the glassblower is like repairing the cracks of the Kool-Aid Kool-Aid Man. The clothing store owner has made a custom hat to keep the liquid inside of the Kool-Aid Man. The basketball team huddles around him. It does like a big team huddle. The Kool-Aid Man is at the top of the hill. He's about to run down onto the ramp, launch himself in the air, and it starts to sink in how scared of heights he is. But the plane is about to line up with the ramp. He's got to do it, but he's scared. And that's when Ice Cream Creed is looking around. And he starts to go, "Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah." Everybody else joins in chanting, "Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah." They are so loud that they could hear it from up in the plane. The pilots are like, "What's going on down there, sir?" And he's like, "I don't know." "Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah." The Kool-Aid Man runs. He runs, and then he's launched up into the air. He flies through the air, and bam, through the side of Air Force One, he lands into the plane. So at this point, we have like an epic kind of Air Force One style fight scene where the Kool-Aid Man is in the barrel of the plane trying to rescue Cam. And of course, we're going to have the president in this who is just entranced with the Kool-Aid Man. And I'm not trying to do like this is Trump in here, like it's a president that looks like Trump, but this is very clearly like a president that is more of a figurehead and other people are making the decisions and he just enjoys the spotlight and the power. So this whole time he's just kind of being an imbecile, just fascinated by the red picture and the magic and all that. Top Secret is having to like try to keep Cam and the Kool-Aid Man inside while also not endangering the leader of the free world. Kool-Aid Man manages to jump out of the plane with Cam, but they only have one parachute for Cam, and they're realizing that the Kool-Aid Man is too heavy for one parachute, but a bunch of other parachutes fell out of the hole. And so they're having to like glide through the air, maneuver around, and try to collect all of the other parachutes, or even like hold on to some other people that jumped out with them. It's this really tense action scene, but they managed to collect enough parachutes, attach them together, pull them all at once. So there's this like giant parachute made of 10 little parachutes that's enough to support the Kool-Aid Man, and they float to safety back down in Hastings, Nebraska. A scene that kind of looks like this, but they make it to the ground, and Agent Top Secret is waiting for them. He's got a laser gun, and he's got it pointed at Mr. Morris, at Cam's dad. And Cam's in a tough spot because he wants to be safe, but he also needs his dad to be safe too. And so he goes deep inside himself and he's just like, I no longer wish the Kool-Aid Man was real. I wish that these agents would be gone and my dad would be safe. And then there's like a whoosh, and he's instantly transported to the wacky, wild world. Now, this is a visual world that's inspired by the Wacky Wild Kool-Aid style ads of the 1990s. I read that these were inspired by the work of artist John Paul Good, I think that's how you say it, and Peter Gabriel's Sledgehammer music video. Just a bunch of really surrealist, wacky sort of stuff. There's this John Paul Good style deity, you know, this little guy right here kind of looks like that. There's this deity that rules this alternate realm, and he's like, I decide along with my team here which children's wishes to grant and which ones to not, because all children are born with a certain amount of magic, but only a few wishes are truly worthy of being granted. And we thought that your wish for the Kool-Aid Man to be real was a worthy wish because you wanted to bring joy to yourself and others. But now we hear you want to change your wish. What's up with that? And so Cam says, yes, I would like to change my wish. I've had a lot of fun with the Kool-Aid Man, but I realized that my dad can't be just as fun, but he's had it really hard, and it's kept him from being the fun person I know he could be. But if he was okay, he'd be allowed to be that version of himself that I now know there is. And the deity is like, you only get one wish granted. If we change your wish, that means the Kool-Aid Man goes away. And he's like, I'm going to have to change my wish. I'm going to have to keep my dad safe because he's always been there for me. It's just in some ways he shows up in different ways than I expect and in ways I don't see. And I've come to appreciate that, and I need my dad to be safe. And so the deity grants him his wish to change his wish. So whoosh, he's transported back into the real world, and Agent Top Secret and all the other agents that are around, they start to disappear in thin air. The dad is safe. Cam and the dad hug it out. They have one of those really intense, emotional, crying hugs. But then Cam notices around his dad that the Kool-Aid Man is starting to disappear too. He's starting to become a ghost. That's in parts of him are starting to whoosh, float away. So they say their last goodbyes. The Kool-Aid Man is like, y'all been pretty groovy. I believe in you, kid, and you got a great dad. So they give one last hug. Kool-Aid Man gives one last, oh yeah, and then whoosh, he disappears. So at the end, we cut to a few months later. Cam and his dad are celebrating Cam's birthday in their backyard. And at first it's just the two of them, but one by one, the entire city shows up. All the townspeople we have grown to love are all showing up to celebrate Cam. Cam, who was once a loner, is now a staple in this community, and everyone loves him. He's become friends with the entire basketball team. He's hanging out with them. He's particularly best friends with that one kid that was really making fun of him earlier. Cam looks across the yard and he notices his dad is mixing up a pitcher of Kool-Aid, and he walks up to his dad and hugs him, tells him that he loves him. Mr. Morris says he loves him too. As they hug, the camera pushes in on the freshly mixed pitcher of Kool-Aid, and the condensation on the pitcher starts to shift. We notice certain dark spots start to appear, and it starts to form a face, the face of the Kool-Aid Man. So the two of them are hugging kind of back here. We're tight on the pitcher. The face forms. It says, oh yeah. Cut to black, credits roll, and that's the ending of the Kool-Aid movie. So I know that was a lot to take in, but I feel like for such a commercial IP-driven movie, the only way to make it work and to get audiences to show up is to make it as intensely human as possible. So that's what I tried to do with this relationship between Cam and his dad. Well, also reflecting the real struggles of an everyday working class American with, combined with this wacky, sprawling adventure movie. I feel like that would really be a great time for the whole family. So the visual style of this film, I would love, just the basic of, what you would expect from a kid's animated movie of just really bright colors, highly saturated. But I love the look of recent animated movies where we're trying to put in little hand-drawn elements. like Mitchell's versus the Machines of the Wild Robot, you see kind of the edges have some like pencil texture to them. Spider-Verse did a great job of this, where a lot of it was computer animated, but then you had like a very unique one-of-one kind of expressions drawn on top of the CGI. I feel like with a commercial IP movie like the Kool-Aid Man, touches like that will help it feel more human and less commercial, which will warm audiences up to the idea that a Kool-Aid movie could be good. Now, the film references many different subgenres throughout the whole movie. Like, pitch documents usually have like comps, and I didn't really do this because really there are so many different styles, subgenres, specific movies throughout cinema that we're referencing in this movie. So it could be a really creative challenge to be like, okay, in the first 20 minutes, we establish the style of this movie. And then we figure out how the style bends around like a high school movie, a secret agent movie, like The French Connection, Mission Impossible, a Michael Bay movie, Air Force One, the Sledgehammer music video. These are all the things that we're like introducing throughout the film. And so you could just like pull from all of these different influences, but then add that kind of like hand-drawn style on top of it. And then finally, the version of the Kool-Aid movie that we want to draw from in this film is the kind of mid-2000s version of the character. I love how exuberant he looks, and this style of animation I feel like will meld the best with an animated movie as opposed to like the more like realistic versions we've gotten recently. But to update the character so he still feels fresh, I think we just like add a bunch more details to the character. Like, I particularly love the idea of seeing condensation all around the glass, because this is a giant pitcher with a lot of ice in it. It'd be really cold. And then just like the details of the water dynamics at the top of the pitcher, like I think that like flowing and splashing water just looks really beautiful, and we would really milk those close-ups for all they're worth. So that's how we like give a more stylized look to the Kool-Aid Man. And finally, I touched on this, but like kind of circling back on the theme of this whole movie, kind of what I ended up on with the idea of Kool-Aid being the drink of the everyman, and why Kool-Aid as a brand has lasted so long is we really need to shine a spotlight on families that are struggling a lot through economic times. The families that would take their kids to see this movie. They're going to a movie to kind of escape the reality around them. And one of the beautiful things about movies is people could get escapism, but they could also like gain a new perspective on their situation. And I particularly think a lot about how we have all these movies about parents that miss their kids' sport games and they aren't around during the day a lot, and they make those characters out to be bad parents. But as economic times get harder, more and more parents are stretched thin and have to work overtime to make ends meet. So those parents are working double time to provide a good life for their kids, and they're still made to feel like they're bad parents just for not being privileged. And I feel like when the times we're in now, kids need to understand that parents, they are doing their best, and they aren't always ignoring them because they can't be around all the time. Like, they're working so hard because their entire life revolves around making their life better. So the Kool-Aid Man goes out to families in those situations. The Kool-Aid movie goes out to families in those situations. How difficult it is to raise a kid in the midst of economic struggle, because Kool-Aid has always been the drink of the everyman. It's been so affordable. It represents that no matter what circumstance you're in, you could add a little fun to your life. So that is my pitch for the Kool-Aid movie. Thank you so much for listening, Continental Studios. I can't wait to hear your feedback and see what you think of the movie. That was my Kool-Aid movie pitch. I tried my best to treat it like a real movie pitch, do it all in one take, and I got flustered at some times. I like stumbled over my words. Like I'm just staring at my camera in my room, but like before I walked in, I was really like getting nervous, like this was a real pitch. Man, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you think of my Kool-Aid pitch. Do you think this Kool-Aid movie could be a real movie? Is it worth making? If you have any feedback on my pitch, the pitch document, how all of this went down, if you have experience pitching real movies, let me know how I did. Anything I could do to get better. And as I mentioned, I am a director and I am shooting my next short film in under 2 months. It is called Locked In. It's a horror film that takes place in a recording studio. It's about an artist trying to lock in and make a hit song when he realizes he's locked in the studio with a demon. You can check out a teaser trailer we shot for the film in the description, and subscribe to this channel to keep up with the progress of that film and maybe hear more movie pitches.